So maybe you heard of this, or maybe you haven't. I don't know. But Conor McGregor tweeted on Twitter that he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao next in the Middle East. Uh, so since he's tweeted this, people have been reporting it, like ESPN and all those boxing forums have been reporting it. Now, just because Conor McGregor says this doesn't mean it's true, but then again, it can be true, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fight were to actually happen. Just because boxing loves to do these little circus acts where they put these two guys from different combat sports together to generate a bunch of money, even though it's not a competitive fight. They do the same thing with like the whole YouTube thing where they have, the famous YouTubers facing off against each other because they have a massive following. And even though they're fucking novices, they are going to generate a bunch of money, and people like their fans tune in to watch those fights. It's the same thing with this circus act is where they have Conor McGregor, who has a massive following, and then of course you got Manny Pacquiao, who has a massive following. And if they have the fight happen, even though Conor McGregor has like one fucking fight in a boxing match, which was against Floyd Mayweather Jr., it'll still sell out. To this day, I have not seen Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. because I knew that was a circus act. But it's just one of those money type of things, those big money fights. It's funny that boxing cannot get the big fights that we want to see. Like it can never get Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. It can never get. It took 5 years to get Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. But when it comes to these circus acts, when it comes to these non-competitive fights, these big money fights, they could easily make it happen. Yet when it comes to the big money fights of competitive boxing, it seems like it's impossible for it to happen, right? So I would not be surprised in the slightest if Manny Pacquiao versus Conor McGregor actually goes through and they actually fight, because that would just be a big money fight. What Conor McGregor needs to be doing is fighting guys in the fucking UFC. Get that rematch with Khabib. You know what I'm saying? Go back to your sport and fight guys in your division. Make noise there, but I get it. Conor McGregor is a money type of guy, and he's only seeking the money. And ever since he made that Floyd Mayweather Jr. money, which was the biggest payday he's ever made in his career, ever since he made that, he's never going to go back to being a full-time UFC fighter. Why do you think he's been so inactive? Like, ever since he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr., he's been so inactive in the UFC. Prior to the Mayweather fight, he was active in the UFC. He was constantly fighting because he was only seeing UFC money. But ever since he made that massive payday with Mayweather, he took a break from his UFC career. He fights like once every 2 years in the UFC. He's no longer an active UFC fighter, and it's because he saw how much money he generated and he made in that Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight. That now that's all he cares about. Now he just wants to have these big fights with these legends because he knows that that's going to generate the most money. He knows he'll get a massive payday if he fought somebody like Manny Pacquiao. And don't be surprised if after the Pacquiao fight, maybe 2 years down the line, we hear Conor McGregor versus Saul Canelo Alvarez, because Saul Canelo Alvarez is also a big draw in boxing. I could tell what Conor McGregor is doing. He's a money hog. That's all he's doing. He's looking for the big fights, the big name boxers, so that he can make as much money as there, because he knows he will never make that type of money as a UFC fighter, right? He's not going to be making $30 million to face somebody, one of these UFC guys in his division. So I know it's obvious what he's doing. He's just milking his career until he retires. But I don't even consider him a full-time UFC fighter anymore. I mean, he fights like once every 2 years. Anyway, this circus act is probably going to take place. What do you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments below.